Hey, Mike, what is going on?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
Hey, listen, we were not on last week, so we have to jump back on the bike. We might not know how to do this anymore. I
I
mean,
think
it's
we know.
been,
Listen, listen. I'm gonna start off with a prayer request right away. I need the funds to buy a cheap laptop, so that way I'm just not on my iPad anymore. Like
okay.
this is annoying for me. I have to. I'm a control freak. I mean, I've told you that before. So like, being in control with you with admin stuff, like I just can't do it. So just can't do it. But
And what people don't know is there's a lot that goes behind the scenes.
it's a lot. We got a
And,
production
and
here.
yeah, we have production, and it's hard because without you helping me, there's like segments where I'm leading and you're controlling, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
So when it's just me, sometimes it comes across wonky. So wonky is the word of the night. So
Wonky, wonk,
hopefully
wonk,
tonight,
wonk. Not wonk, 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 but wonk, wonk, wonk.
yeah, yeah,
I
it's
don't
like
know.
Charlie Brown's
I don't
teacher,
know.
right? Charlie Brown's teacher.
There you go.
Oh, there's my mom. Hi, mom. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning into the Celebration Podcast tonight. Well, Mike,
So Pastor, I was gonna say I've never had the opportunity to meet your mom. Like I think we're friends on Facebook, but I can't wait to meet her. I've heard lots of good stories. I know she's listening right now, and I try to keep your son in check every once in a while. So
yeah, every time she's in town, you're not.
I
So
know.
she
I
probably
know.
doesn't even believe you're real. Like I
I'm a,
keep talking about Mike, and he's like, "There's no Mike. There's no
there's
Mike
a
in my life."
figment of your imagination.
Yes, well, you're like AI, right? You're an
Oh,
AI on the screen, right? It's just we've done it really well. Our technology is so good that you look like you
thank you.
interact with me well. You look great. We created like the perfect co-host.
Well, I listen. I try. I think my wife will say I'm the perfect co-host. Let's see if she'll get on here. She just got done cooking, but I said we got some other people that are joining on other platforms. We have Facebook up. We got YouTube up. We got X, formerly known as Twitter, or maybe it's still Twitter. So we got some people on
Look at that. I believe he's alive. So,
here.
well, we know he's alive. So it's going to be a great episode tonight, man. We're up coming up against Easter. Easter's coming real soon. It's like Easter's early this year.
Super early. Listen, shocker. It was a shocker to you, but I told you, okay, that, and I didn't know. Oh, hold on. Well, there you go. But I don't think.
No, look,
No,
it does show your name, Lisa.
it does show
Look
your
at
name.
that. Perfect. You're not Facebook user tonight.
I told for our viewers, I told Pastor Larry, I was like, hey, we're going to Texas for Lisa's birthday. Lisa's birthday is March 29th. It's next Friday. And we have the U.S. Open going. And like, it's just, we're getting away. I'm going to see one of my best friends I haven't seen in 12 years. He lives in Texas. And then the next thing you know, it's Easter. I'm like, what? Why? Why is Easter that weekend? I was like, that doesn't happen. And then you forgot. I was like, hey, I told you. And you're like, you just walked away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you told me the date, but you didn't tell me that you'd be gone on Easter.
Well,
So,
I didn't know it was Easter until like later. And then I was like, oh, snap, it's Easter. I was like, well, I'll just wait till Pastor smacks me or something like that. So I'm good. But hey, I'm still going to be going to church. You and I will talk. I need to find a church in Fort Worth for that Sunday, but we'll talk about
Fort
that later.
Worth. Well, in addition to finding a church, you need to find Saltgrass Steakhouse.
There you go.
That is like legit my favorite steakhouse that I've
Lisa,
ever eaten.
Lisa, you're watching, so there you go.
Yeah,
Saltgrass Steakhouse.
Saltgrass Steakhouse. You have to go there. Definitely go there. And then one of my absolute favorite appetizers is there. Uh,
What's that?
so it is a jalapeno popper, but a
Okay,
giant fantail shrimp is stuffed inside of it.
I'm on it. I'm
Oh, it
on it.
is so good. Oh, it is so good.
We should have like sponsors come up, like Saltgrass Steakhouse.
Yeah, but it would make sense that Saltgrass Steakhouse was in Texas. But there's rumors it's coming to the WC.
Really?
Yeah, and if it does, I'm gonna go broke because I love it. I love it so much. But well, Mike, we've tuned in tonight. We want you to tag some friends. We want you to share,
Yep.
like, subscribe. It really helps the channel. So we need to do that. So go ahead and subscribe. And then when you subscribe, what happens is anytime that we come on YouTube, it gives you a notification. So you will know every episode when we come on. So it just helps us get the word out. Mike, we've been looking at some of the numbers behind the scenes. By the end of the week, we probably have several hundred people who watch the podcast every week. So that's awesome. But we want to continue in enlarging our reach and letting people know that we're here. And again, this is not the Larry and Mike podcast, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not even it's not in the name. It's the Celebration Podcast. And it's beyond just the Celebration Church podcast. It's we celebrate everybody. We celebrate our audience. We celebrate you. Back when we first relaunched and came up with the name Celebration, one of the things that we say often is we're called Celebration Church because we celebrate you. Who wants to go to Toleration Church? So this is not the Toleration Podcast where we tolerate you. This is the Celebration Podcast where we celebrate you. So come on, tell us the good things that are happening in your life. We want to rejoice. We want to celebrate with you. If something big has happened for you, we want you to go ahead and let us know so that we can celebrate that with you. And speaking of which, you had a big weekend this weekend, Mike. So how did things go at the tournament?
Tournament went well. The boys brought home 3 golds and 2 bronze. So it went well. Michael and Aaron did well. Literally just preparing. Now it's all about like, hey, that's the amateur, and not to say that people are amateur, but it's literally called the Amateur Athletic Union. And now for next week when we're at the U.S. Open, so people were like, oh, the U.S. Open, yeah, it's like tennis has the U.S. Open, golf has the U.S. Open, and karate has the U.S. Open as well. Aaron decided that he won't be competing in it just yet. He's just not there yet, and which is perfectly fine. We're not going to push him. But Michael, being the number 1 seed on Team USA for plus 76, has not only a requirement, but is excited to go there because the last time we were there was in 2021, and he brought home some bling as well. So he's just super excited, training for it. It's like Rocky Balboa in my house right now. The training with Mick and all that other stuff. So I'll be getting up super early tomorrow.
Chasing some chickens?
I'm not chasing any chickens, but I will tell you that Michael is getting up super early tomorrow as well. And we'll be working on speed tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. So pray for me.
Awesome. I'm telling you, he needs to chase chickens. It's like lightning. You can catch lightning. Mickey, right?
I'll go and I'll buy some chickens somewhere down in Tampa.
Dustin's talking about it. Dustin's talking about it. He's building like chicken coops.
He was talking about Tony and Charlene. They got these. I didn't know there was different types of chickens. There's chickens that you shouldn't eat. There's chickens that. I was like, what? I was like, I thought all chickens are edible, but apparently not.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I was going to tell a joke, but we don't have time for that. Let's get into it. So, are you about ready to start tonight? You got something to kick us off?
I'm ready. Today's my day 1 of low carb again. Listen, I've told you this a million times, but I'm on day 1. So I'm in my favorite snack right now. It is sweet and spicy peanuts, very low carb. See you in a few. Welcome to the Celebration Podcast. I am Larry Schwartz. I'm your host, and with me, as always, is my number 2, my ride or die, my partner, our best created AI ever, Mike Molinaro. So you know what? We need to get some soundtrack things going so we can have like thunderous applause. But if you're home, go ahead and go ahead and clap, and let's have a great night tonight. I don't know why, but we're talking chickens tonight. I guess that is chickens.
the topic: not all chickens are not edible, and some lay different color eggs. Not all chickens are not edible. No, all chickens are not edible, and some lay different colored eggs. I think every chicken's edible. You could eat them all. It might not taste good, but you could still eat them.
Listen, I got really confused when I was a kid, and I wanted to know why the Cadbury egg came from the bunny. Since we're going to talk a little bit about Easter.
Easter bunny, bark, bark. I remember that old commercial,
Yeah.
the Cadbury egg.
Yeah.
Now, all right, we're getting ready into Easter. We're going to talk Easter candy. At Christmas we talked Christmas music or Christmas movies.
Yeah.
But there's not really that many great Easter movies. I mean,
I was always confused. Listen, I'm going to say I was always confused. And Ten Commandments is still like a movie. Like I own Ten Commandments, and they always showed it on Easter. I'm like, no, this is backwards. I was like, let's talk about Jesus. Even before I was a believer or had a relationship with Christ, I was like, this is still backwards. Okay,
right.
This is about Jesus. But
so anyway. we won't talk Easter movies. Let's talk Easter candy.
Easter candy.
Okay, so
are you a peep guy? Are you a peep guy?
You know what? Pastor Michelle is big into Peeps. In fact, every year my wife buys her Peeps.
Okay.
Because it was a tradition. Her mom used to buy her Peeps. And many years ago when her mom passed away, my wife picked up the mantle and said, you know what? She's going to buy the Peeps for Pastor Michelle every year. Okay. So every year I have to go to the store. I have to buy Peeps for Michelle. So shout out to my Peeps. No, I'm not really into the marshmallow Peeps. Honestly, I'm not a big candy person. I think if I was to pick any, maybe the Easter eggs filled with peanut butter would be something.
So the Reese's peanut butter cup, egg shaped.
Yeah. I guess I could do that. Now I don't know about you, Mike. Michelle saying it means so much too. She's talking about my bride buying her Peeps every year. Mike, they did a survey, and I wish I could find it. We'll look it up later. That they could tell your personality by what part of the chocolate bunny you eat first. So, what do you eat first? You have
the ears. The ears.
You eat the ears first. Yeah.
Gotta do the ears.
I bite the tail off first. I don't know why. I start at the tail.
The boys love Peeps. Lisa and I cannot stand them. Pastor Larry, sorry, Michelle. I get it. It's just since I've been a kid, like I just didn't. I think it was the food color. I have a problem. I don't like food coloring. I think I can taste the food coloring in it. Not going against whoever makes Peeps, but jelly beans. There's so many jelly beans. Your mom said jelly beans. There are so many different types of jelly beans these days. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, and then they had like those gourmet ones. Now, have you ever played? What's the game? It's jelly beans, but there's two of them. One is they look exactly the same. One tastes good, and one tastes like trash. You ever play that?
I've not played the game, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's candy and it's jelly beans, and one may taste like rotten eggs, and then the other tastes like lemonade, and you don't know. I think it's something Bean Boozled or something. I forget what it's called.
I think you're right. I'm gonna have to ask one of the kids.
All right, a lot of comments are coming in. I always ate the head first. I haven't had a chocolate bunny in years. No problem, Mike. Your boys are my favorite anyway.
I'm going to say
Bean Boozled. There it is. I said Bean Boozled. So thank you, Lisa. And if you're wrong, Lisa, we're both wrong together. So,
Pastor Michelle, I know you're listening. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for what you do for our kids. But I don't thank you for all the sugar that you've given them over the years to go home with on Sunday for Easter. So
I think it's appropriate. I think it's
because you used to be a youth pastor. That's why. And you probably do the same thing. If you have candy, give it to my kids. Like, go home. Bye.
And some red Kool-Aid to wash it down.
My favorite is the Cadbury egg.
The Cadbury egg.
But this year I have
the Cadbury. Is that the one filled with like the white cream?
Cream, yeah, cream. when I was a kid, I didn't like it a lot. It was like a texture thing, right? I thought it was weird. But I have not had one this year yet, even though like today I'm trying to eat better. It's because they now cost $1.79 each. And I'm like,
Wow.
no, I am not buying that for $1.79. So since my wife is watching, if you would like to get me minis, get the pack instead. Pack is better.
And sugar free because Mike's on low
Sugar
carb
free.
right now.
There you go.
Yeah,
Just
but
the mini ones.
you got to be careful with the sugar free until you get used to it.
I listen. We've had those conversations before.
Yes. So we'll move right on off of that topic. Is there any other Easter candy aside from like the chocolate eggs and the bunny and the Peeps? What else? What other Easter candy?
Well, now
is
you
it?
have like LINDT chocolates and like gourmet chocolates.
How about the things that look like the Easter carrots? Like what is that? I've seen that out there too.
I think that has to do with the Easter Bunny, right?
But
The
I'm saying, what kind of candy is it? I've never eaten it.
I know Reese's, like the actual ones that look like M&M, come in a carrot form. I don't know.
I don't know if that's a different
I'm
flavor.
trying to think. Chocolate marshmallow bunny. Okay. Well, if you guys have more candy recommendations, um, we would love to give them to anybody on Sunday who would like to send their kids home and just have a fun-filled day. I know John Torres probably will be watching, so give some to Joshua Torres on Easter Sunday.
Because Josh is too laid back. We got to just get him
Too late back.
we got to get him a little hyped a little bit
There
more.
you go.
So no other Easter candy. No one's commenting. I think we maybe have exhausted all the different Easter candies. So Easter's coming right up the corner, and I just wanted to welcome or invite everyone. If you are in the Tampa area on Sunday, March 31st, which is Easter, we have a 9:30 breakfast. We will not be having our normal Sunday school that morning. We'll be having a breakfast at 9:30, and our regular service is at 10:30. And the kids will be having a glow party. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a total blast. The kids absolutely love it. So great time for the whole family. And then typically families dress up and a lot of pictures taken, and it's just going to be a great day. So we're totally stoked. The reality is we don't do a big production on Easter. We make it just like any other Sunday, so that if
Right.
people come and visit, they know what they expect the next week.
Yeah.
We're just showing who we are and being authentic with that.
Yeah.
We have a couple of nice niceties and breakfast, but aside from that, it's a normal service, great worship, a good word. And on that Sunday, I'm preaching a message and starting a series called A Better Future. And I believe that it's a timely message that will really encourage people of how they can have a better future. We look and it seems like things get worse in our world, but God wants us to have better, right? And, sometimes when we talk about better, we have our own idea of what better looks like. To me, better is not like financially or better to me is having wholeness in Christ and knowing who we are. So we're going to talk about that on Easter Sunday as we launch a brand new series. So again, if you're in the Tampa area, we'd love to have you join us for a great day at Celebration Church.
Pastor, you talk about that. And I don't know if we're gonna transition right now, but Pastor Deanna was talking about this past Sunday about being stuck, right? Being maybe stuck in your walk, just being stuck in what God is having you do and whatnot. And I know there's always some people hear it a little bit differently than others. But I really, Pastor Deanna is watching right now, or she'll be watching later. I really enjoyed it. I know Lisa enjoyed it as well. We had an opportunity to talk about it yesterday on our drive that we went to South Florida again yesterday, and it's just we could be living a blessed life, but moving forward, like what was the name of your series? Moving forward,
Better Future.
Better Future. Like to get into that better future, we got to unstick ourselves, right? We got to make sure that how do we get out of the mud? How do we get out of the quicksand? And this is not what she said, but what she did say is go back to the time that you told the Lord no, or you want to do it your way, right? And I was like, wow, that's just blown away. It's like, there's been many times like I prevented myself from moving forward because I did tell God no, right? So I got to go back. But God is so good and gracious to say, okay, you confess, you repent, you move on, right? And it was just super awesome that she was able to speak about that. And there was more that she spoke about on Sunday, but that was the one part that stuck out for my wife and I is how do we get unstuck? Like, we got to go back to the time that we told the Lord no, so that way we can move forward in the work that the Lord has for us and the blessings to be a blessing to others.
So on my timeline it was either Instagram or Twitter. I think it was on Instagram. I saw a video that's gone viral. It's a guy who decided that he's going to teach people how to get out of quicksand.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw it or not.
No.
It's gone viral this week, and so he's in the quicksand, and he's going to tell people how not to get stuck. And in fact, what happens is he gets stuck and he has to be rescued. And I thought, that's how we are as Christians sometimes, because we think that we're invulnerable and we think that we can play around with things and we know how to get out,
Right.
but really we get trapped.
Yep.
And we think we know better. We think we're smarter. We think we have it all figured out. And then we play games. Like we do things that, we thought we were stronger than. We build this mindset that it's no longer a battle for us. It's not a temptation. And we put ourselves in positions that we really don't belong in.
Right.
And what happens as a result of it is we get stuck. We get trapped, and it's our own demise. And someone posted, it's like the two things kind of went well together. It showed it was like an elephant or a rhinoceros or something, and had this chair stuck on his head. And a lot of times we blame Satan when it's our own decisions that get us there.
Right.
So I guess the best way to not be stuck is to not be there in the first place.
Right.
And make good choices. So I think it's important for us to look at those realities.
Yeah, I mean, so many, and it's I always try to be pretty real, and there's times where it's like, listen, I get stuck, been stuck. It takes me a while to figure out, like, oh, I am stuck, right? But I'm so thankful to the Lord says, well, listen, yeah, he must get so frustrated with me sometimes. It's like, well, if you just would have listened to me in the first place, like, you and I being parents, you're a grandparent, so I know that's a little bit different, but talking to your boys and your daughter, it's like, well, if you just would have listened to me in the first place. And to me, like my two boys, well, if you just would have listened to me in the first place. And God is the same way. He's like, I love you. I'm going to continue to love you. I'm going to continue to protect you and guide you. But if you just would have listened to me in the first place.
Yeah, and I think that's hard when you've known the Lord for a while and you're walking with Him, and you think, oh, I should have known better, and then you feel guilty, and you kind of hide. I totally get why Adam hid from God. I totally do. We do that all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
It's like we feel convicted, like, man, I don't want to face it. I know I blew it. So we alienate or isolate ourselves from really being together with people. Or even when we're together with people, I don't know. I'm sure you've been this way, Mike. You're with a bunch of friends, but you're struggling internally with some decision you make. You're
Yep.
there, but you're not really there.
Right.
Like you're physically there, but you feel like I don't belong here. I'm disconnected. And that's where the enemy comes in and tries to lie to you and takes you and says you're not worthy, and and we get stuck even more. And the place that we're stuck, we actually begin to make residence there,
Right.
and we camp out there. So
Yeah, I can, and thought comes to mind real quick when I got saved, and then I ended up going back home. Like, I was a person that that was an addict, and just in that party life before. And I remember just going back home, and it's like, oh, hey, I'm gonna let you guys know about Jesus. And it's like, yeah, come on over, we're having a party. And it's like, I go over there, and it's like, this is like not where I'm supposed to be anymore, right? And that's why I had to like separate from for a while, just from communicating with some people. And then I'm friends with them now. Right? I'm friends with those people now, and we live totally different lives. But I have the opportunity to not, if it's not to talk to them about the Lord, but at least have opportunity so they know that they knew who I was before, and they know who I am now. Still the same guy, but just forgiven and living a walk for Christ. Not thinking he's better, just tries to go after Christ.
So let me follow up and ask you a couple questions about that.
Yeah.
And you bring up a great point. There's times where you know that you no longer belong where you were,
Right.
but you don't feel like you fit in of where you're at,
Right.
Because you have this mindset. Maybe people are more spiritual, they're holier, which isn't true, but it's perception, right?
Yep.
So how do you overcome that perception of I no longer belong there, but I'm not quite here yet? How do you cope with that? What are some of the things that you think someone needs to do so that they get unstuck and are able to move forward into the destiny and the blessing that God has for them?
In that example, active listening is big. And what I mean is really not just hearing, but actively listening and in conversation with one or two people. You don't have to be around the whole room. Like PD talked about this past weekend on Sunday, that she is an introvert, right? And that you are not, right? You're the guy that worked the room, right?
Wait, are you saying I'm not an introvert?
That's what I'm saying. That's what your wife said. You're not an introvert.
Wow, I didn't know. No,
And
she's right. I'm totally an extrovert. I am.
I'm very
But-
similar. You and
Yeah.
you, but exactly. But there's times I got to recharge, right?
Well, but that's the true definition of an extrovert.
Right.
See, a lot of times people think, I charge by being around people,
Right.
but I still need solitude.
Correct. Absolutely.
So being around people gives me the energy so that I find refuge in being by myself.
Right. You and I are
Um,
very similar with that. But
Right.
our wives are also very similar in being introverts,
Right.
which is probably why we get along so well, right? But active listening with people, when I'm in that type of space, or when I've been in that type of space, is really actively engaging with one or two people in the room and listening to what they have to say, right? Or what we're talking about, and not pretending. That's the one thing. It's like, don't pretend with me. You asked about me, so my advice would be is not to pretend. We don't want to be weird, but we also don't want to pretend. Just be you.
Right.
So that's how I've gone through.
Well, I think the other thing is there's two different types of people in the room too, right? You have the people who are new in the room,
Yep.
or the people who've been there. And I think, if you've been there, you can notice and you could just bring up things. So for instance, I sit on different teams and different boards for our fellowship. I'm a presbyter, and it's like sometimes you sit around the room and you're like, all these people are more spiritual than me. Do I belong? It's like this imposter syndrome where you're like wondering like what is going on. But then it's interesting because I have other people that will reach out to me and say, hey, I know that you don't feel this way because you feel like you totally belong, but sometimes I don't feel like I belong. And I'm like, wait, I'm the guy that feels like, but because that other person opened up, I can now have a conversation. Say, hey, I feel that way at times too. And
Right.
it kind of helps people to feel like, oh, we're all kind of in this together, and that we all have to grow from it. All right, let's see here. Laura said, leaving where I didn't belong anymore was so hard. Coming to Celebration is where I belong. But it did take me a while to really open up to people and start reaching out. I'm still working on that to this day, but I'm getting better at reaching out now. And I know that all of you love me for me. It took me a long time to know that, but I do now. Yeah, that's true,
It's awesome.
Laura. And the reality is, uh, sometimes when you are not comfortable with who you are, you act differently, or it's like, oh, I'm not being authentic. We just want people to be authentic and be real, right?
Yeah.
If you have to be a fake to be around us, then you're putting on a show and you're putting on pretense, and it really doesn't help us or help you. So we just want people to be real, and that's one of the thing about what we try to accomplish on our podcast. We're just two guys who are just real. You can see our warts and scars. Not a high production. We have. It's not programmed. It's just authentic, and that's what we want. We want this space to be a safe place where people can come and be real. Yeah, we can make mistakes. We can say dumb things. We can.
Yep.
Watch our words, but we're not scripted. I don't have a script that I'm reading from. I don't have a teleprompter.
Yep.
We're just having conversations. Certainly, we talk about what we want to accomplish, and we don't completely wing it, but we kind of know where we're going, but we go there together.
Yep.
And I hope we can model what it is to communicate. If people see how you and I interact, and hopefully that helps them to get to the place where they can open up and be real. And
that's really how I communicate with everybody. And there's some people like there's different communication styles, and I can get into the analytics of it, but I'm not going to. But there are like 4 main different types of communication styles. You have people who are expressive. You have people who are amiable. You have people who are a little more analytic, and you have people that are a little more of the driver type. I'm just going to stop right there in regards to the 4 different communication styles that I've learned over my years. And like there's times where you and I are driver. We got to get it done, right? We got to get it done. And then there's the analytic type where we're thinking about how to get it done, right? And then there's the expressive type, like we're just having conversation. And then when we have to recharge, we're the amiable, right?
Yeah.
Not as much, but it's there.
Well, I think that's a valid point. And sometimes we misread someone because they don't communicate the same way we do. Or
correct.
Like, for instance, I get accused at times of being angry or upset if I'm really in that listening stage. Because if I'm intently listening, my resting space is kind of intense. Like I'll dig in, and I have to remind myself sometimes to smile and like actually fake smile, because I don't want people to think I'm upset.
Right.
I try to do that even when I speak, when I preach. I just am mindful to smile a lot, because I can have an intensity that comes across differently than my intentions.
Well, so, I've told you this before. It took me a while to realize that Sunday morning is really not the best time for me to talk to you about something serious, because it's all like you got things to get, like things got to get done. That's me. I'm not talking about anybody else, but for me, there he is. We're gonna give Joshua a whole bunch of candy, John, on Sunday. We got a big plan for it. So, but anyway, sorry. But for me, like I noticed that in like the first couple of months that I knew, I was like, it's nice to me all the time, but like I go to talk to him, but I just didn't realize that. And then I had an opportunity to talk to you, like, oh, your Sunday morning to you is like Monday morning to me. So, yes.
Well, the other thing too is there's so many spinning plates that happen on Sunday
Right.
morning. There's a lot of things that are going on, and I'll have people come up and, hey, I need to tell you about this. I'm like, now really isn't the time to discuss that, and I don't have time to like explain why now is not a good time, and
Right.
it's hard because you want to be sensitive to that, but I wish I could like just hand a paper. Hey, I know that I just cut you off, but read this paper. Oh, I have like a bazillion things, and typically somebody's asking me stuff. I'm troubleshooting. If a battery mic is out, there's just a lot of things that.
There's a lot of things. Text
happen.
messages from your men's ministry leader who's sometime running the camera and be like, dude, this is not working right now. And you're like up there, like, we got tech issues.
Yeah. And we have tech people to solve them.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it just seems like it just happens where I have to speak into it, and I don't want to. I keep trying to push things away from me, but we have a lot of people that now I don't know if John is live or on demand, so he could actually be like 10 minutes behind us. That's the nuance of I don't know if
Oh,
he's
that's true.
responding. Like if he's watching 10 minutes ago, he might be responding. So let's do this. John, if you are watching right at this moment, give me a thumbs up or say something right now.
I'm shocked John is on Facebook right now.
Yeah, it's a miracle. It's a miracle of the Lord.
He's in Dallas. So that's his version. That's his version of a thumbs up.
I'm in Dallas.
Well, John, I'm going to be there next week.
So if John, if you're listening to me again, Saltgrass Steakhouse. In fact, I think I went with John in Orlando to Saltgrass Steakhouse one time.
1 hour behind, he said. Oh, sorry. See, there's that tech issue.
Awesome. So, Mike, what else do you have to share with us tonight? You have anything else you want to say before we get off of here tonight?
Just thank you for all you do. Thank you for the leadership team and celebration, because a lot goes into that Sunday morning. It's not you're trying to prepare for your message and just make sure that we're good, and we have a great leadership team that does their best to try to support. Where you can go to our media guy, Dave, or if somebody's having something that they really need to talk to, we have Pastor Linda or myself, right? And then we have leaders in place. So just thank you to the leadership team at Celebration.
Yeah. We used to talk about it before. Maybe we need to reinstill it or re-talk about it. It's like protect the anointing.
Yeah.
Like anybody who's getting ready to preach Sunday morning, they have something that the Lord's put on their heart, and man, that could be sabotaged by something that somebody says.
Yep.
I'm sorry you're going through a problem or an issue, or you had some big financial thing that happened in your life, or you got a bad report. But right before someone preaches is not the time to drop that on them.
Right.
And it's not just me, it's anybody who speaks, because now it's like so weighty that it's like it is a distraction and takes away.
Yep.
But after service, it's a different story. The altar, open up, a prayer team can pray for you. So we just really want to understand that. So for any of our team that's getting ready to speak or lead, whether it's Teach Sunday School or Royal Rangers or Girls Ministry or anything where you're ministering to people, before is not the time.
That's true. It's 100%. And I've learned that for like I said, I've been here now for 12 years. So it takes time for people to realize that, and hey, we're available afterwards.
Right.
But we want to make sure that we're human beings as well, right? And we can react. We have emotions. Like we care. We love people, and we don't want to get in the way of what the Holy Spirit wants for that day, for that time, for that message.
Yeah, and people will say things like, "Hey, I need to talk to you after service," and I'm like, "Oh, I wonder if their marriage is okay. I wonder if they're having financial problems. I wonder if they got a bad." It's like, oh, it's that also is like I didn't say anything. I just said I want to talk to you. Like now you're worried about what they're talking to you about.
Right.
Like is something wrong? Or are they upset? Are they?
No, I just wanted to take you out to lunch.
Yeah. Well, you can say that. Yeah. John Torres is great at that. Hey, want to do lunch? I mean, I know exactly what he's talking about. Like we just get right to the chase. And I have friends who know enough to say, hey, let's grab lunch, let's do something. But, after service is the time to talk about those other things. So anyhow, we're going to have a great weekend this week. It is Palm Sunday. So a week before Easter, it's going to be a great day. Sunday school, 9:30, regular services at 10:30. But before we go, I just wanted to, again, promote our book of the month. This month, month of March, we're reading Steps to Christ by E.G. White. Great book, super inexpensive. In fact, on most of the Audible type platforms or audio books. It is public domain, so it should be free on pretty
It's
much.
free. Oh, I
pretty much-
know. Living in the Pasco County area, we rented it from the library on their app, and it's free.
Yeah, so this month it's totally free. Laura said she finished it in a few days. It was great. So again, hope you're enjoying it. We'll see you Sunday, but until next week, peace.
There you go.